welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. This is your host, ScottyB. Friends, welcome to Season 6. It's been a minute since I've had any content coming out for Heroes of Cosplay. A lot of different things going on for Season 6 Cult of Personality, and we have to say all of it at once so that we don't get any sort of like infractions on YouTube for music rights or for CM Punk. But I am bringing back a guest who always we've always segued in, and we kind of made it a tradition on the show to have our recurring guests, Anthony Cosjitsu, come back and we'll kind of welcome in the season. And I know it's been a long time since we've talked, so we'll probably have a lot to cover today on the first episode of the season. Special guest Anthony Cosjitsu coming back. Welcome back, sir. It is so good to see you. It's good to be here. I'm excited to have you one more time. And you know, we always have the balance theme. I'll have to come up with a fun title for that. But just really, what's new? What's been going on?
Yeah, what's new is kind of really a loaded question. It's great to see you, Scotty. It's great to talk to you. I think it's been since somewhere around the end of 2023 was the last time we had our discussion.
Yeah, it's
Well,
been like
for,
a 14 or 15 month
yeah, formal
pause.
discussion at least. Obviously, in between, we've still touched base here and there, like we always do, and check in. And we've had a lot going on the last year, and we can go into a lot of that. There's really a lot to go into, and
Yeah, I mean, you've got things everywhere. You've got new cosplays, you've got new events, you've got life events, you've got and congratulations, by the
I
way.
thank you. I
Officially,
really I really don't know where to start, but I guess the biggest highlight we have to go into of last year for me was me getting engaged. Everyone knows I've been dating. Well, her former Instagram name was Liza Cosplay. Now she goes by Liza Bean, which is a
Liza.
perfect name. Liza Bean, yeah. So now we are engaged. We went on a cruise back last May, 2024. I mean, I knew I wanted to make her. I knew I wanted to propose to her, make her my wife. But I was like, I had so many ideas of how to do it. And just with this cruise coming up, just like within the last few weeks of deciding, like, I'm gonna do it in London, I'm gonna do it in front of Big Ben, and it's gonna be perfect.
Wow.
And I did it. And on that, and we did it at the beginning of the cruise, before we even went on the cruise. I wasn't waiting until the end. Like there was no way in hell I was doing that. So proposed, she said yes, obviously, and then we enjoyed the rest of the cruise. And from that point, it's been looking for places to get married, and we had our engagement party this past fall, which was spectacular. And just for the longest time, I've been looking for wedding venues, and I'm sure at the end of this year or likely in 2026, we will officially tie the knot. And that was the biggest thing that happened for me personally last year, and the biggest thing of my life, and for our life. And yeah, and everyone, and you and everyone's been following on social media, but this is the first time I've actually been talking about it like in some sort of podcast or show or some setting, and proud to be saying it on your show. And I appreciate you giving me the platform to talk about it. And yeah, that was the high, and out of both cosplay and personal events, that was obviously the highlight of last year for me, and for my life obviously as well. So
So the
um
cruise went well. Sounds
yeah,
like
obviously, yeah, it was.
the answer was the one that you were looking for too.
Yeah, it was definitely not a miserable cruise after that. And going to see all the great European countries too. I implore everyone to see the rest of the world. And if you want to get into the cosplay portion of my 2024,
Oh yeah, I mean it's been a thing after
yeah,
thing after thing. Just the posts, of course, some of the posts have changed because of the engagement, and
yeah.
you've been doing a few more collaborations with Liza, of course. That's
Oh yeah,
that
there's
goes
always
without
been
saying.
collaborations between. You've been seeing the last years. There's always been a bunch of collaborations between the two of us. I think a lot of 2024. I don't know if we spoke from the last after the last NYCC. I think we did.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think we haven't really gone into what was what happened last year between any conventions and group events and charity events and any new cosplays, which, as you can see, I didn't really have any new cosplays in 2024. The only, well, we did Targaryens at the Renaissance Fair this past October. That was my what's it called? Daemon Targaryen's my only new cosplay from last year. As you can see, it was a lot of New York Avengers events and
Yeah, you guys were
obviously
everywhere.
a lot of New York Fantastic Four stuff that was happening as well. Most of my posts were pretty much that, and as you can see, most of my top nine was that, except for the two posts with me and Liza and the engagement ring. So
You kind of got the, I mean, Fantastic Four, depending on the character, can be quite a bit of work, a lot to put
yeah,
along with.
news. If anyone hasn't heard, I've been and we haven't and since we haven't spoken since last time, around that time was the first time I did the thing.
Hmm.
And a lot of the escapades of 2024, I've done the thing and the New York Fantastic Four stuff, and it's since the last time we spoke, that was kind of like me starting with the group. That wasn't like the group was around before that doing stuff, and there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes back then. But from last time we spoke, I joined in and we did all this stuff throughout 2024, and it was all great. And unfortunately now, it's a little bit on hiatus. Not sure what's going to happen with the group. If like I'm going to do Fantastic Four stuff in some sort of form at some point, but I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the group now. Just with members, it's just we don't have the same Sue Storm. We don't have the same uh, Johnny Storm, and with KO Fitness, which he's done a great job with the whole group.
Hmm.
I don't know what he's going to be doing with 2025. His plans are not New York Fantastic Four related, and I don't know if this is going to be the last year for him. I don't know. There's like a whole don't quote me on all the don't hold me to any of these things,
These are
but
these
there's
are
just a
unofficial,
these are
unofficial.
all unofficial. These are all unofficial things. So I don't know what's going to be happening with that. But for what happened last year, I was proud of what happened. We did a lot of group stuff. We showed up at a lot of events, fanfare, Garden State, obviously the epitome with NYCC. So, um, for what that was worth, that was great. And then to mention the New York Avengers, or what we've done with our charity groups and the appearances we've done last year. All those events were um, a lot,
Oh, it's
considering all the events as
combination,
a
so
noob
much
coming
fun.
in and out of a child. That's always hard to deal with. But it's always great doing it for the kids with my Doctor Strange and everything, and I've appreciated the feedback I've gotten on that cosplay and what we've done as a group. And also this past NYCC, hopefully you see it again this coming NYCC, as we had our own table, our own booth there. And for like 4 days, kids were coming by. We were giving things away. We were doing raffles for money to go to Ashley Lauren and to go to there's another charity, Ronald McDonald House, I think. I
Hmm.
can't think of the charities that we were doing, but the whole year from the visiting the hospitals and NYCC and putting a stamp on it with Ashley Lauren, it was another successful year with that as well this year. Sorry, I've been going on a tangent from one thing to the next, but just wanted to say that that was kind of just a highlight. That was most of my 2024 with the groups and doing the just repetitive cosplays and stuff with Liza and all that stuff. And yeah, it wasn't really a year of new stuff. It was just a year of like doing stuff for other people, let's say. So,
Yeah, but
um,
you've
yeah,
definitely given back a
yeah,
ton this year. I mean, wow, yeah, like it seemed to me like every month there was
yeah.
another event going on. There was something that the New York Avengers were involved with, and just knowing how much goes into the PR and the
Oh, yeah.
coordination with the hospitals, with the venues, being a part of the panels at the shows. It's just a ton of work, and
It is a lot of work,
it's
and Sam does a lot behind the scenes too. And you've interviewed Sam a couple of times, I think, at this point. And she does a lot behind the scenes as well for all this. And yeah,
I get burned out just thinking about how much you guys have to do to keep these things going, to keep the group going.
yeah. And now
And
we haven't spoke since last time, but we're an official charity, so there's that.
yeah,
So.
Yeah, you're reinstated and everything looks so much better just from a standpoint on Instagram that you are officially a charity
Oh
and
yeah,
that
reinstated. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
Um
don't think. Yeah, the last with those Instagrams, you saw what was going. We haven't
mhm.
spoken since that last time, but like a few Instagram, especially the main Instagram that had thousands of followers, went down. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. I mean, we've had the name up for so long, and there's so many different. There's an other Coast Avengers. There's like, how come their pages didn't go down? Like, I hate to bring this up, and I know we've spoken about this before. This is a dark side of cosplay where there's people out
The
there that
trolls.
just
Yeah.
yeah, that just get jealous of what you do. And obviously this is something that happens in all parts of life, but just specifically with cosplay and just your and this is another real part that no one wants to hear. You're dealing with people that don't know how to behave socially and that don't know how to interact and just there's a lot of people that just can't handle rejection or like if friendships don't go the right way, then people just want to do things, whether that's trying to take down for God's sakes, a charity page, like like I've had falling outs with many people in my life. We all do. That's just reality. Like
Mhm.
we've had many friends that have come and go, and we've had bad fights with people too. But like the last thing I want to do is to go after someone's charity page, and I'm not saying that did happen, but people get revenge in their own ways, and that's a sad reality. And I would like to hope that didn't happen. But it's hard to think of many reasons of what happened to the page. But the more important thing is, we were able to put photos back up and get the pages going again. And we're still doing the events regardless. There are people out there that know our history already, like that have to maybe refollow us on Instagram. Oh, I know what these people did. The Ashley Lauren Foundation, Ronald McDonald House, the Zion event, the Zion group, like they all know what we've done, and we always invited back, and we're showing what we're doing, and hopefully one day it becomes recognized on something on a larger scale, and then we can do even more events for different people. And honestly, we're only so big of a group with only so many people, and we can only do so much at a time. So at the end of the day, the biggest thing is going to be just inspiring other people to do the same thing at the end of the day. So
They do
yeah,
so much for the community and they do so many positive things for cosplay. And
yeah,
that's really the important thing is that often we forget, and I'll be talking about it more this season as we get into some of the nitty-gritty of the episodes, but that it's a personality driven space, but I think oftentimes we forget it's not just about, putting on the costume, get in front of the camera and click, getting the clickbait, getting people to generate the likes and the buzz for you, that
yeah.
there's a component to be able to give back to other people with this. That's where for me, some of that fulfillment comes in. For as many years as I've been on the podcast and done the show, I don't have too much to show for cosplays, but the idea is that I'm showcasing the cosplayers themselves. That's the point is to shine the light
This
on
is
the
why we
people who are out there
appreciate you,
doing it.
Scotty. We appreciate what you do with showcasing everyone in their cosplays, and that's why we're happy that you're bringing the show back. And you touched on that it's not always about just you in front of the camera. I do also want to say on the flip side that there's nothing wrong with wanting to do it for fun or wanting to do it for seriousness, and take pictures and post yourself out there and look for likes and for followers and all that stuff. It seems to be a real main thing with cosplayers, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that as long as it's a you're not hurting other people
Hmm.
in the process. So and always keep it fun. Never take it obviously unless you're making some sort of money or making a living or trying to, sell things or do stuff like don't take yourself too seriously. Just always keep it light and playful.
Yeah, and just to really keep in mind, folks that are listening at home, this isn't our full-time job. We do other things. We've got the 40 plus hours of work that we have to get to
You
in
and I have a
addition
nine
to
to
all the other
five,
things.
you
Got
know.
it, it's the 9 to 5
Unless
that
we're
feeds the
like,
cosplay.
unless we're Kamui cosplay or Leon Chiro or just to name a few people out there that just have really big names where and even those people might be it's not even going to be fully cosplay that makes them the money.
Mhm.
they're maybe making things for people, or they're
Yeah, they do
uh,
commissions. They
yeah, they're
do
doing
3D
commissions, or maybe
prints.
they are to a point where they're making ad revenue. But
Hmm.
I would like to remind people that is a very small fraction of 1% of cosplayers out there, and even the 1 or 2% are still, putting in some sort of work. Or you're never maybe even doing fully cosplay to begin with. You have to maybe do Twitch on the side, or you have to do some sort of show, or you have some sort of branded content out there, or um I would say if you want to, purely like make a living doing the people actually, you want to know something? The people in cosplay that probably make that are in cosplay that make a living doing the thing itself may not exactly be the cosplayers, but actually the photographers, because that's
Hmm.
not only are they coming to the conventions to take photos, but there's a good portion of them where it's their job. And there's a good portion where, it's not just like completely their job. Although a lot of them, you'd be surprised, they're like maybe IT people, but they're doing something with technology, you know what I mean? Like they're within that realm. So, I would encourage, like, if you're trying to make some sort of money now, yeah, this is where the tangent comes in. If you want to make some sort of money in cosplay, it's not going to be purely just you being in cosplay, but I would say promote something, or make wigs, or make weapons for people, make cosplays for people, get into some sort of content creating, Reels, TikTok, something with the channels, take advantage of social media, make videos, things like that. Look at me giving advice on this. And I've been slacking on my content lately.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a delicate balance, and I mean, it does work in some cases. My co-host Aster Void is doing it full time now. It's weekend warrior work.
Yeah.
She's every single week. She's in a different city. She's promoting for a different venue, and she's working with, like GalaxyCon, all over the place to get
And
that
then that's a
on
harsh
stage.
reality for people to accept. Like, you got to do things
It's
that
a
like
lot
you
of
don't
work.
want to do, and like you might have to promote things and talk about things that not necessarily that you don't want to do, but you might have to keep things within a certain realm, because that's what the consumers want, when it comes to like what you might do. Like, I'm not saying like unfortunately people get wrapped up on like talking and doing things where they completely don't like fully agree with it, and that's when you really get unhappy. But like there is going to be part of it like where you have to fall like within some sort of line, which the amount of marketing it takes, or like you have to stay within a certain realm of like what to talk about or what not to
Mhm.
talk about. And that's the harsh reality of like selling things and what people really want. So,
Week after week after week, you look back on the year and you're like, wow,
well, I mean,
that was
like
a
a lot,
lot to take. That was a lot to take on in a year.
there wasn't enough time to like try to spend money and like do stuff with like other things, because I spent some, like, and you spend money on the engagement ring, and
Hmm.
then spend money going to Europe, and then obviously the engagement party and stuff like that. So like, I really did try to pull it back last year, but doing that caused me to like just really be like, ooh, I have a lot of ideas, and I think they all might come out at once, like during this year. So like, like there is ideas brewing that I really wanted to do last year that like are gonna come out this year. And there's gonna be a lot of like well, there's going to be a lot of like vacations happening, so there may not be like, in terms of like quantity, there's not going to be a lot of like cosplay stuff happening. And I'll be at the familiar cons as well, but get ready to see some like different conventions that I go to, and like things get changed up, and like maybe more photo shoots. I will say like maybe a certain group of mutants that might pop up at some point. Let's just say that, for any of the Marvel fans. I'm getting some ideas going. And there's gonna be just a lot of ideas that have been on the back burner. Definitely a few things between Liza and I that we want to do. So like in terms of like new cosplays coming, like I only produced like one new cosplay in 2024, like, which for
Hmm.
me it's like that's really not like me. Like that first year I started, which was only like 5 months, I came up with 5 cosplays,
Wow.
and I started in August. I started in August in 2019, and I managed to come up with 5 cosplays. The following year, like another seven. One year I did 8, and then another seven, and then like I'm just always like I was just always like cranking them out, like just like two or three at one con, and like doing a group shoot, and like it wasn't. It's not that it was like month by month, or I was doing it like every 2 months, but it was just like, they just came in bunches. Like
Mhm.
they were coming, and you know. And just last year I wasn't there, and I think now this year, between I don't know, I mean I'm like stuck between like throwing out the ideas and like trying to keep them a secret, but like we've always wanted to shoot like ever since like that GTA 6 trailer dropped. We always wanted to like do like a photo shoot there. Everyone says Liza looks like Lucia, so you might see that. You might see like a certain captain from Bleach. I don't know if there's any anime fans out there, maybe a little bit of Harry Potter, a little bit of Castlevania. Like I said, maybe some certain mutants, a little bit of more Bleach. So like I do have like a lot of like new ideas. So like, it may not be like a lot of cons and stuff like that, because like I said, there's gonna be a lot of and things are gonna change if we plan a wedding, like shit could change like that. Like a lot of this stuff could just be rearranged or just may not be the same quantity. But like, I will say this year, like, there are cosplays that are ready to go. So between like some conventions I haven't been to and some I've been to before, and just like doing photo shoots on our own, it's gonna be like an interesting year of like nice quality content. And then obviously, you know, um, a little bit of more New York Avengers happening, and the stuff we do this year, and which if we don't talk anytime soon, the first one that I know of this year for the New York Avengers will be CradleCon. um I think it's like May 17th 18th, Cradle of Aviation Museum in Long Island. So if anyone wants to see the New York Avengers, come see us there.
Fun group, but also just so knowledgeable about
Yeah,
everything, like the conventions to go to, like what kind, like everything cosplay, everything
we'll
costumes,
definitely be
everything
doing that,
film.
and NYCC this year. So and we're definitely going to be trying to get a booth at the end of the year too. So
No, that's
everyone,
fantastic.
yeah, for everyone listening, yeah, please come see us. And also in May we may be doing some a wrestling event. Oh yeah, that's another thing. We did like 2 wrestling events from last year. You saw Liza as Rhea Ripley, and some of the wrestlers I met and all that. So there'll be some of that. Um uh in terms of like the actual conventions we'll be doing, uh it's like what's it called? Garden State Anime Fest, Cradle of
Mhm.
Aviation. I'm not sure if we're doing Terrificon or not because vacation's coming up, but there will be Dragon Con for the first time. This will be Liza's
Oh,
second, it'll be my
all right.
first.
I
I
think
know you're gunning to be there, which you better.
we're gonna push for that one.
Yeah.
I got
And then closing out the year with NYCC. So like I said, that's why it's going to be a year of like a mix between like conventions I haven't been to and ones I have been. So yeah, and I hope I see you at either Dragon or NYCC. I'm gonna hold you to that, all right? And we're saying it right now on the podcast.
We're saying it right now.
And
That's we're gonna
because
get there.
we're definitely gonna have a bunch of podcasts this year. And I don't know, what is this, like my fourth or fifth appearance, but like we're definitely gonna have a few this year, and we're definitely gonna have one like before or after, like when we meet, so we can, and that'll be like that'll be a special episode. So, and I can't wait for that.
But just knowing what it takes to like get a film crew on the road and have them show up to an event and be like, okay, we're gonna do this thing, and just how expensive it is to like put all that together. You kind of take it for granted when you see like Blue Mineral or superpowered cinematics, or like just some of
Oh
the
yeah.
different groups that come to the cons, especially down south and through the East Coast, that they're there and they're just filming, and just like what goes into that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want a big camera, like a whole like professional setup with audio and just sitting at a table somewhere, like it's a whole big thing. Although on the flip side, I've also learned that if you need to do something quickly, like apparently you can get like a microphone, plug it into your phone, and just like, interview people like that as well. I know you may have some challenges and it's hard to test things and like you got to do things on the fly, but it's whatever. There's always finding balance, right? I
That's right. This
mean,
the
like how hard or how easy you want to make it for yourself and how much time you have. So,
the build of balance and coming back to it. And yeah, I think it'd be really cool. We should definitely have more than one episode this season.
oh, we're definitely going
Um
to. We're gonna have more than
hop
one.
on.
And this year we're
uh
gonna have one in person, like we said, whether it's
yeah.
YCC or Dragon or something like that. We'll definitely have a chat. Whether you have to take out your phone and do it right there, I don't care. We're gonna
Yeah,
we're gonna
we'll just record. I mean, you just set up a phone on you just put it on a couple of books or whatever. We'll just
yeah.
we'll get it
I
in
like
the
this,
can.
man. Like this kind of inspires me to like want to do like my own show, which for the longest time, which for like 10 years or like even more than 10 years, like I've always come up with so many like silly names for like a podcast and a show, and like I've come up with like I put like my own name, I've come up with other creative names, and like I've done it by myself. I've tried to do it with other friends in the past and like do someone else's show, and just like you just try to start it up. And that's why like I commend you for like doing the seasons that you did and like consistently doing it, because it's so hard to like stay consistent like between like 2013 and like 2018 or whatever, between like trying to do shows, stopping and going. I probably did like 20 or 30 different episodes of whatever the hell I called my show at the time or whatever. And like, and also like, and back then, like I talked about like so many different topics. It would just be like, I think at the time it was just like a Joe Rogan inspired type of show. Oh, let's talk about anything. And then like you have to come up with topics, and then because like it's hard to really do that. And then what are you going to talk about? Or maybe we should just stick with a topic for different shows. And then like you also incorporate politics and current events and all that other stuff, which like for some people it's fun, and for some people they argue with you seemingly about it. And when I started doing about it back then, like I it was decent to actually talk about that stuff. I mean, people got pissed off and like argue back and forth, but like if you talk about that stuff today, good luck. It's you'll have people coming for you left and right. So
Yeah, I
that's
think
that's why like for me, like I don't even know if I can get into like those topics and categories because I know how people would react. I don't know. I personally I would just try to like keep it fun, because like although I like to talk about those topics, like I also like to talk about many different things, and like as soon as you bring up those topics, then people are like, "Oh, like Anthony or so and so brings up this," and I'm like, "Wow, from an hour and a half podcast, you found like 5 minutes of like what's going on in today's world," or like I said something about this person, and because I didn't shit on them, like you're losing. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
it starts to like people label you with that. And like for me personally, like well first of all, I'm a free thinker, so I don't really like I have a lot of bad things to say about either side, and can acknowledge when either side does something good. And then me saying that could get me in trouble, because they're like, oh well, this side they're doing this, so how can you say something good about you know what I mean? Like it's just that's why I just leave it alone. It's just all right, let's just talk about fun stuff,
Yeah,
you know.
it's I mean that's kind of the name of the game. I know Snarky J takes a lot of heat sometimes for her reviews and things that she's been able to build on YouTube. It's also a
Who's
hard
this?
Snarky
Who?
J,
Oh, yeah.
but her
Guess
name
that's
is
fine.
Snarky
I guess
J.
it's Snarky J.
But
Yeah.
I mean there's a number of YouTube
I am snarky.
cosplayers.
Unfortunately, like, I could come off like I can come off snarky as well, and people will take that as like, oh, you're being mean to people, and I don't know. For me, like, I don't know. I have ADD, and like, I just for me, like, my honesty just comes off like, oh, you're being mean to people. Oh, you don't care about people's feelings, blah blah blah, and it's like. I don't know. I'm just being honest about things. Like, what happened to people being honest, going forward? Everyone likes to say, "Oh, I'm real. I'm this. Oh, I like honest people." And then 90% of the time, when someone says something honest, then you're protesting against them, or you're just trying to shout them down because you don't agree with them. So it's like, do you really like honesty? Like,
Yeah,
because
it's
from where I come from, the people who are honest are always usually respected. The people that or always trying to virtue signal or put on a front. Like they're the people that are just looked at no matter what topic you're defending. Like if you're dishonest, people will sense that. And people won't respect you, like no matter who you are in any aspect of life, whether it's politics or business or sports or even fun things. Like if you're going to be dishonest, like then people aren't going to want to talk to you and people are going to look at you a certain way. So I don't understand this thing where you're criticizing someone for their honesty because then people are going to start being very dishonest and then we're going to be in a place where we're at right now where people aren't communicating and people are fighting with one another. And I'm trying to be careful with my words right now because I don't want to talk about anything specifically or bring up any specific names or anything in general, but I just generalizing this fact alone, like I think people listening to this like kind of agree with it. Like you I think more honesty and just people being real with each other just kind of gets us further because you see how people react when like you try to beat around the bush. They're like, oh, like just and they'll just walk away from you like, oh, if you're not going to be real with me, then like then we're not even going to talk about it. So
Yep. Yeah.
just
Authenticity is often an abused word, I think,
yeah.
just
And I'm not
on
saying
the
you have,
online
yeah,
space, not necessarily in cosplay, just specifically, but people want to build something online and maybe
yeah,
it
exactly,
starts in a genuine space, but as you go, it's
yeah,
it turns into a cookie cutter of what's there and what everybody else is doing and saying, and you're kind of going with whatever is safe, and people do
yeah,
that now. Maybe everything that I share on the show is safe because I don't have a very like maybe I do have my opinions, but not like the cosplay space isn't where I really have any of
yeah.
that, and
I'm
that
also not saying
it's
bully people, and I'm not saying
yeah.
like intentionally say things to like set people off. If like you're a troll and you do that, then like
Yeah, we're not antagonizing people.
yeah, no, yeah, like
Cosplay and all that
the people
weird
that
stuff
are
that goes on
antagonizing,
online.
yeah, like I don't we don't say all this because people like could hear this and they'll like it could get translated to like, oh, so then you're okay with this and that being said. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm actually the opposite. I'm actually not okay with a lot of cruel or mean things or like bullying things being said. Like, in fact, the opposite. I think everyone should treat everyone with kindness and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
that
also at the
makes
same
sense.
time, like allowing people to like be real and opinionated about what they say and because conversation is what is how we like kind of like meet in the middle because like people might be on this side about one topic and then on this side and then it's like then you kind of realize that everyone actually agrees on like 80-90% of the things that
Hmm.
we all talk about, you know what I mean? And like you actually realize that like unless you really are like a person that's just very negative and going through life and just wanted to bring other people down. Like the vast majority of people want everyone to get to the same place. We just have the only reason we fight is just like we just have a different way of going about it. And if people just like pull back and realize, oh, like we're actually just trying to get to the same place, we just have a different way of going about it, then we kind of find out what works and what doesn't work. Like the Bruce Lee philosophy, just
That's right.
take things from all the martial arts, takes what works and discard what doesn't work. And there's your balance. It always comes back to balance, right?
It does come back to balance, and really just knowing that balance, like between online and in person. We talk about Dragon Con. Everybody, it's funny. I get warned every time I bring it up. It's so funny. Like everybody's like, "Whoa, you're going to Dragon Con? Well, okay, well, get ready for that." I'm like, "Yeah, well, at my age, I'm. It's not like I'm gonna be like 24/7 for 5 days. Like it's
Exactly. Yeah.
that would put me down for like a month at this point. So it's
I mean, well, I will
it's a fun
say,
space
like,
to be in, but you
I've been
gotta.
to KatsuCon, and if Dragon is like more of a party con than KatsuCon, then like, we might have to be prepared to like for like to like a certain extent. Like, so like I do understand like where that comes from, but then also in the same boat, like, we do whether we're going with them or going without them, we also have our significant others as well. So like we're not like motivated to do any crazy wild bullshit or anything like that. So like, like
Not with
we're
my
with
knees. Nope.
no, yeah. Yeah, not with our knees, not with, and we're there with like our significant other as well. So it's like, which doesn't say like it doesn't mean you can't have fun or anything like that, but like, like For me, like I'm just like let's go party and then let's go like have a let's just go like lay down or sleep or something like that.
Yeah, I mean
I'm not staying
it's
out till like 2. I don't know. I mean like you might stay out till like 1, 2 or 3 a.m. but like,
yeah, depends on what's going on the next day,
yeah,
you
it
know.
does. That's another thing too. It depends what's going on the next day.
Yeah,
Like,
do I have to be up,
but like,
And
Liza and I, no, no, no. Like, Liza and I obviously love to go out and love to do stuff like that. But then sometimes we're just like, we'll go out and then like maybe for the rest of the night, just, you know, enjoy, like a dinner. There might be a night where we might have a dinner or a night where we, you know, um, are,
yeah, I mean it
uh,
is Atlanta too, so there's
yeah, it
still
is Atlanta. We
places
might go, yeah, like we
to
might want to go
go.
out. Like it
Yeah.
may for us, it may not be like always a party thing. I mean, like, we may want to go on a date or like have our own alone time together sometimes. So like there's also a part of that as well. So
Yeah.
but no, but like for the 4 or 5 days, like it'll definitely like be a party out there with our cosplays and all that. Like we'll definitely take advantage of that and whatnot. So
Yeah, usually for me, cons are that space that I use to plan the next things. Like it's actually more solitude for me, which is funny
yeah.
than just the normal day to day because like
Yeah, in a way it
jobs
is
are
solid.
stressful. People are constantly
Oh yeah, yeah.
email, text. I'm always
Like
answering
for
people.
us, like we always talk about when we go to Katsu, like it's like a vacation, like a getaway. Like we're having like the parties and we're doing the cosplay, but sometimes it's like, oh, like let's enjoy this part of like let's enjoy this restaurant or let's enjoy this or like where the hotel is beautiful, like there's like a night in to like have
Hmm.
some sort of dinner and have a cocktail and there's the jacuzzi and there's this. So like, like it's a both. Like you go out into the cave like you get to go out into the chaos and then like choose to like come back and just like unwind. Like you have the best of both worlds, like when it comes to it, you know. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that's just one con.
yeah, and that's just
It's
that's
just
just
one.
that's
It's like
yeah, and that's
you got
just
the
one
rest of the
con. Yeah, I
weekend.
mean like Dragons definitely. Like Dragons a big party con. I just mentioned Katsu. I'm sure for people coming from the outside coming to New York City, like when they come to anime and NYCC, they may see it as a party con, but it's not really a party con because like you're coming to the Javits, and then you got to go to other locations to kind of like party. Like Katsucon, it's like within the hotel. For Dragon Con, it's within the set of hotels.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's others that are across the country I can't think of that do the same thing. I'm sure there's something down
Yeah,
in
like
Texas, or
San
I'm sure
Diego
there's something
Comic
down.
Con is
Yeah, San
probably
Diego is probably a
crazy.
good example of that because
Yeah.
they have like the hotels in there and the parties
Hmm.
and everything else. And San Diego's like the original, like the original like big convention. It's basically what NYCC is, except on the West Coast, and then include that like it also has its own party vibe to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, and some of the
haven't been
like
to
not
it,
just
but
Comic Cons, but the anime cons get pretty big and crazy too.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, like,
International cons. It's like you
Katsu
got
is not
people.
really anime con, but anime is a part of it because it's a Japanese inspired con.
Yeah.
But oh, and also, what am I thinking? There's down in Kalahar, there's Colossal
Colossal
Con
Con. Yeah.
down in Kalahari. That's like more that's a more party con for the anime kids and anime Matsuri down in Florida. That's another one where it's
Yeah.
like kind of like a
Ornament.
resort.
Hmm.
Yeah, like a warm resort type of con for the weebs as well. So, and I'm sure there's other parts of I know Texas has like its own like great scene as well. They have a big scene. So, and obviously, I'm sure California has conventions down there that we don't know about or along. I mean, California is pretty much most of the coast, so I'm sure along the coast down there in California, they have their own thing going on as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
If you want a tame con, C2E2 is usually pretty tame.
yeah,
We don't get up to much here in Chicago.
yeah, yeah. I can only imagine within the Midwest how much is going on there. Apparently, on the Northeast here, the Boston Convention or
Boston, Steel City.
Anime Boston is a big one that happens. And I mean like the small cons that I've mentioned along here with a terrific con up in Mohegan Sun, Cradle Con out in Long Island. I know like there's small cons to other people across the country that don't mean much. Maybe to people along this section of the country. They might see them as something because New York is a metropolitan area and it's a location. But if you're within the tri-state area and you're listening, the cons I mentioned, you guys should definitely check out. So I wish there was a lot to talk about in terms of like what I did last year in 2024, and in terms of what's to come because like it hasn't come yet. So and that's why we're gonna have more podcasts.
Yep, that's why we'll
That's
have to have you on so we can get closer to
yeah.
what you're working on
I thought
as
we
you're
were
going through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought we were gonna have like more ideas. I think that's why we went. But I mean, like, we went on. We talked about some personal things which need to be said and things like that. Hey, maybe to kill time, we can just bring up like again like the dark side of cosplay or like the positive side of cosplay or talk
Absolutely.
about Hey, how about wrestling?
We haven't said a thing about wrestling right
Yeah, we
now,
always talk
and
about wrestling. Maybe we could maybe
that'll be
we can
um
end on wrestling because it is this new season is a cult of personality, and our man CM Punk, cult of personality.
that was the whole inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, right. How about from WrestleMania last year, to how that storyline, the final boss with Cody, and coming all the way up to what we have with the game taking over the transfer of power. Then we have everything on Netflix with Raw. It's like what you've seen so far, what have you loved and what are you looking forward to? Like
Oh
what's
man.
or who or what or has it mostly been WWE for you? I mean, for me it is, but like has it been other federations? Like what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, with the changes, I used to be a big fan of NXT, and now, like for me, it's the women's division in NXT, and it's what the guys are doing on Raw and SmackDown. But I hadn't watched Raw because it wasn't. I don't have cable, so when it went to Netflix, now it's been like a weekly thing for me. But then they moved NXT
Everybody,
off
yeah.
of Peacock, so
There you
it's
go.
just like. But I'm okay with that because I think they're just going in a different direction with the whole thing. I don't pay attention too much to AEW. It's just not
Yeah,
on
it's kind
it's
of
not on
dying.
any station that I can watch.
They're
Um,
they're kind of what's happening to them is what happened to WCW. Like take the old
yeah.
head like you got like it was good the way it started up and you have like the older WWE guys and people, like and it was getting hot and everything and then they're just making again the same mistakes that WCW made and it's you're just not focused on the wrestling and you're just relying on too much of the old heads and it's just WWE has always had that way of telling stories and the way of putting on a show and just it's yeah, it's just nothing like if you can't come up with something original, WWE is gonna always win
Hmm.
at this point. Especially like, and I know no one wants to talk about Vince McMahon and what he's done, and obviously we can condone what he's done, but his vision for what he made with wrestling, it is what it is, and it's hard to mimic. And Triple H has taken that and just excelled it even more. So
Yep.
it's
Triple
if you're
H and
gonna
Chef
if
Michaels.
yeah, and if you're gonna so it's yeah. I've always had cable, so I've always been able to watch everything. I've been the opposite with you in NXT. I never really watched NXT. It was like Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views, or now we call
Mhm.
them PLEs. So, um, I'm happy with the way like wrestling's the direction. It's been weird now with this WrestleMania season, like ever since like Jay won, or even before that. It's just for some reason it's hard to get things going. I don't know why. It's if like was there more people watching on cable? Like what's with Netflix now? Is like SmackDown like too long now? Is like I don't know. Like I still personally enjoy it, but
Does it feel like it is in a bit of a weird space? I feel like we got
there's a
main
weird space.
events last year a little bit sooner,
There's
like the way
great
that they.
storytelling though, but it's just like a
Yeah.
weird space. Like what's happening? Like come on, like let's pick up the energy. Like let's like I don't know. Like I guess there's this thing where it's like, oh, we don't need like maybe like you do need to like bring back some of the old heads to like get things like going. You know what I mean? Like, because like where's Cena? Like Cena came back. Like Cena was like, I'm back for every event. I'm not doing like a movie this year, which he already
Hmm.
just did one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be back for like every week. I'm not just gonna be like once every special event. Which like where have you been? Like okay, bullshit. Like, and then it's like oh like. don't make Cena like win everything because then it'll just look bad. And then it's like now he's in the chamber, and now we have to make everything him win everything because it's his last year. And then now he's not showing up, and uh I don't know. I mean, I like what they're doing with Jacob Fatu. He's just like
Oh,
I'm like a
he's
star out of
amazing.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Like that should like that's he but like he should be on top. Like the thing now with The Rock and Cody, like that's gonna be something again. Like The Rock's like, I want your soul, and I'm like, ooh, okay. Like, what do we got? I mean, I don't know
Hmm.
if you, yeah, like I don't know, like you don't get to watch SmackDown because you don't have
No, I
cable.
don't. I don't. I haven't caught SmackDown, and I haven't gotten most of it. Like, I have to catch up
But like the
on the
stories are like
recaps.
really good. The KO stuff, like it's like really good. It's like, come
Oh
on.
yeah, that I do know about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like just
yeah,
watching these spots, the stuff that these people put themselves through,
yeah.
which
All the storylines I think are great.
yeah,
I think for some reason like I'm just like where's the noise? Like where's like the like I feel like more people should be
yeah,
watching.
the build doesn't seem to be there like it was last year.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they get started and then they back away from it. Like even the stuff with like Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, like
Yeah.
they went crazy at the Rumble and then it just kind of like faded away.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
I'm like,
There.
well, it was really cool. All the stuff that was going on at the Rumble was great.
Yeah.
But and you know, I actually really do appreciate that it's become more like WWE has become more mainstream. You've got YouTubers
Oh
that are
yeah.
showing up on
I feel like
there.
it
You
has.
got
Yeah.
Logan Paul, you know, showing up and doing things and like all the sponsorships, the purchase by, you know, the UFC parent company, and they've got their eyes on TNA now. But that it has, I think, splashed into cosplay because it's becoming more
Well,
because
the
it's
wrestling
becoming more
cosplay
known.
scene has really exploded too. I mean, you
Yeah,
see Macho Verse leading the charge with that, and
love
like
Macho Verse.
Macho Verse is great. Yeah, I love him. He's pushed still constantly pushing out content. Like, and I've known him since he's had like 10, 15, 20 like even under 50,000, like 25,000 followers, and like over the course of a few years, just exploding to like, I don't know, he's got like 140,000 or something like that. And there's the other wrestling cosplayers that I've got to meet and all that. And they've been great people too. And like the Subway WrestleMania and all that stuff with,
Hmm.
Tim Rivera and what he's been doing and all that stuff. And, yeah, I've got to watch it slowly evolve. And like you've seen, obviously, Liza be a part of it briefly, especially with Rhea Ripley, and we need to bring her Rhea Ripley back. Unfortunately, Liza did not like how Rhea lost the title in the storyline and losing Dom and all that stuff. And I was like, and I love Liza because I'm like, oh, like you're like you're taking it seriously, like you're embracing the kayfabe and you're taking it seriously. I was like, I love it because you're taking it seriously, even though it's like just acting and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So like.
these things don't really happen, but it is. Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
too bad
So,
that they
but no,
did
but
it.
she'll bring back. She's gonna bring back Rhea
Yeah.
too. Like, I mean, like Rhea's back on top, and like, and no, I mean, like Liza sees it, and like, there's some wrestling events we want to go to this year too. So like, um, yeah, but yeah, like, but what I was saying before, when Liza was joining in on the guys doing some of the things,
Hmm.
not the whole wrestling like full blown, but like that's when like I saw it. Like the guys have been doing it for like several years, I've noticed, but like from like last year, the year before was like really where it's exploded in like the cosplay community, and like it's really awesome to see what the guys are doing. Like, because I'm friends with Macho and like Matt and like a few of the and some of the other guys I've communicated with and spoke to them like at the cons, and sold one of them like badges because they needed one for a con, and like they're all cool people. So I'm glad to see it coming up in the cosplay community. And hopefully one day I'll have I'll have that wrestling cosplay out as well, because obviously we need to see one from me. It would be a shame if I didn't. It'd be a shame if I ended my cosplay career and didn't have a wrestling cosplay to show for it. So
Yeah, and they're not always the easiest. It depends on the wrestler, I guess I
it's
should say.
hard because for me, it's like, well, who do I look like? You know what I mean? I know it's
Yeah.
not about who you look like and blah blah blah, whatever, whatever. But like, there's just some outfits that I just like can't see myself in. So like, I got to be maybe something more dark and mysterious. I don't know. For me, I'm probably leaning more towards the Undertaker, but we'll see.
Oh, nice. That'd
Yeah.
be great. Yeah.
Yeah, that would I feel like that would be the like old school with the hat and everything and just the whole yeah, we'll
Oh,
see.
yeah, the more gothic looking Undertaker.
Maybe we'll see. I mean I'm a big I was never like I've always like loved and respected the Undertaker, especially like later like I did appreciate him back then, but I didn't get to appreciate him until like maybe like the more towards the end of his career a lot. But like I really do love the late 90s 2000s versions of the Undertaker and all that. So we'll see what we get from that.
Or are you gonna do a biker taker
Oh, I
from the
mean,
early O's?
we can do that. Would require a lot of showing off a lot of tattoos as well. That would be a real problem. I do respect that version of yeah, American Badass might be one of my favorite versions of Undertaker to be honest with you, but I might go with the more dark and mysterious and top hat and long coat Undertaker and we'll see. These are just ideas for now, but as we go along, we'll see what happens. So
Yep, I have to definitely get into a little bit better shape to really do like a Cody Rhodes would be great. I'd love
I
to
gotta
do
I
it.
gotta get into better shape in general just to maybe show off certain cosplays. I know, believe it or not, I'm self-conscious. I know I shouldn't be, but you know, so
And hats off to every cosplayer who does the we'll call it a warm weather con cosplay, but the
yeah.
just anything where you got to put yourself out there like that, like Spartans 300, the
Yeah, yeah.
wrestling
Big
cosplays
shout out to
because
those people. Shout out to
or even
everyone.
Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah, oh
getting
yeah. And like no, and I'm not gonna shit on anyone who needs to use a bodysuit and all that. And like certain cosplays, you definitely need some sort of bodysuit or whatever. And if you're self-conscious or if you feel like you need to use a bodysuit, like more power to you. But for me personally, like unless it's like an outrageous, like unless like the character's of like an outrageously bulky size or whatever, if
Mhm.
it's something like crazy where I have to like put something on, like the thing, like for something like
Yeah,
that, you know what I mean? Like that's
Incredible Hulk.
crazy. Like,
Yeah,
but for anyone else, like I would like it if I'm in shape, like for Bon or for Inosuke or for like any other character where they're just like it's just a simple body. Like I want to be like that. At least, that's for me. I mean, anyone else can do what they want, but that's just for me. That's the pride I take in doing it. So, you know.
yeah,
So
it's all part of the work that goes into cosplay. It's you have to love it. You really do. You
yeah,
have to want to do it and show up. Is
I love it and hate it. Like it's weird. Like it's just like just fuck. I just gotta like put this like some of it requires like a lot of work for me. A lot of the time, like I have people where that commission it for me or I'm just buying pieces. There's some I put my own work into, but like even if I'm not putting it's just like it just takes a lot of brain power and just having to concentrate and like engineer something together and just care so much about how a certain piece looks like it's just but then you're proud of it at the end of the day and it just feels good to just show it off and just see what other people have to say about it and like did I actually replicate this cosplay like the way the character looks and it's satisfying, but yeah, but just like going to cons or doing photo shoots, there's a lot of work behind all of it. We've had conversations before about like we've had a whole podcast dedicated to like what it takes to like group cosplays and all that stuff. It's
oh
just
yeah, we talked about all the
I mean, even
coordinating.
just putting groups to the
Just
side, just like planning a convention or just planning a photo shoot in general. Or now you have to plan the convention and then plan meeting up with a photographer and
mhm.
then making sure that photographer knows what you want done blah blah blah, where you're gonna shoot it, how you're gonna shoot it, the poses that you want, and even without the convention, just spending a couple of hours somewhere, going to this location, that location, like, um, people lose track of time. People are not eating before their photo shoot. People are not eating like while they're at the con, which they should, but then they're self-conscious of, oh, am I gonna look bloated for my photos and this, and that. And I know a lot of this doesn't have to be something that's like mental for you. Like other people might say, oh, you can just push through it, blah, 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 which people are pushing through it. Literally, they're pushing through it to try to do this stuff. So people can't say that they're not pushing through it, but at the end of the day, it's stressful. So it's like, how many times do you want to keep doing it? Like, what's the end game to it? Like, what's like, there's some people are motivated by just a self-satisfaction or satisfaction from other people,
Mhm.
or just taking pride in what they do. And it's only gonna, and remember, at the end of the day, but the vast majority of us are doing it for fun. And if the vast majority of us are doing it for fun, eventually at some point or some point in your life, like other stuff are gonna take over in terms of more importance. And um and going through that same routine and doing all that isn't gonna always be there. But there is we do get enjoyment in that rush of putting it all together. And that's why, because people are asking the question, well, if it's this is all happening, then why do you still do it? There's still a rush of enjoyment of when you do it. As much as there's a lot of the hardship that has to do with it, the when you're there, when you're with your friends, the camaraderie, when you're doing the parties, the how you feel afterwards,
Yeah,
the
it's high
reward,
highs. Yeah.
the reward is just there. The content you get from it, the friends you make, the connections you make as well,
Mhm.
if that's what you're doing there. Um, it's just the setup getting to that point that really is the hard part, because you're just seeing people crunch so much and like try to get things done like last minute, and which you don't have to do it that way, but it it just tends to happen that way because people are doing other stuff in their life where they're working 40 hours a week, and then plus travel if they are traveling to work, and other hobbies that they have. And um and we've had podcasts where we've spoke about discipline and stuff like that. That's when it kind of comes down to discipline and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah,
It's all balance. That's why we started off every season. We all, it's give and take. It
balance.
is not always 100%, you know,
But
roses
this
and
time it's
sunshine and
balanced with
unicorns.
a little bit of personality, right? Or a cult of personality. So
That's right. I mean, and that's what we all bring to it too. Like anybody can be Wolverine,
a little
anybody
bit
can
of our
be
own
Captain America.
personality with balance,
Yeah,
right?
but it's what you bring and it's how you grow while you're doing it because you're not, we're not the same people we
I've
were
grown so
7 years.
much in this. I'll tell you what, I've grown so much for a lot of like drama or BS or anything like that, with a lot of positive. And I mean, a lot of negative allows you to grow, allows you to read other people. The positivity allows you to grow, allows you to connect with other people, allows you to gain a person. Maybe you were introverted and now you're extroverted. So like, and maybe you definitely made some friends for life. There's obviously the majority you may not see ever again, which is anywhere in life, but you're definitely going to make some sort of friends for life amongst this. There's pros to con in all of this, but enjoy the ride and find a balance, and you'll be fine.
That is, I think, just those are words to definitely take to heart and to consider. And I think that's actually a good place to end the
I was
episode.
gonna say, I think with that we can
Um,
put a ribbon on
the
it.
the only thing left to do is Anthony Cosjitsu. Just a shout out for you. Where can we find you, and how can we support you online?
Oh, you could find me obviously on Instagram, Anthony Cosjitsu. You can find me not really utilizing a lot of all these social media platforms lately, but you could I am threading a little bit. Since we last spoke, Threads wasn't around, but you can
Mhm.
find me on Threads. Mostly probably reposting other people's thoughts and throwing in some of my thoughts. And anything I post from Instagram will be posted on there as well. I do have some other social medias as well. Some that are obviously just private, and some that I mean, you could look at on my page. I know there's a link to a link tree you could find. Oh yeah, I'm also on TikTok. What else am I saying? I'm on TikTok as well, Anthony Cosjitsu. I've started reposting things on. I've started reposting other things on TikTok, and I might share things and stuff like that. But I haven't. If people are wondering, I am still actively using TikTok. I might have not shared or posted a video up there in a few years, but I do plan on bum rushing TikTok with all videos that I've posted in the last. I'm gonna find a weekend and a day to post all the videos. Maybe not all of them, because like I'm sure some were created on Reels and some
Mhm.
I might not have saved somewhere, but I'm gonna post up as many as I can in like one day and flood TikTok with it. So be prepared. be prepared for when that happens. I do have a YouTube, but like I've posted like videos. I don't know. Just go to my link tree. Just look for me mainly on Instagram and Threads
Yep.
and
And the link tree will be in the show notes
yeah,
below, so
I
you
kind
can
of use
click right through there.
Twitch as well. No, I don't use Twitch. I lied. I do have a Twitch, but like I did have it tied to my Xbox. Okay, now I'm rambling. Just find me on just find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads and Anthony Cosjitsu. That's it.
Just like, comment, and subscribe to
And
everything that
I know I didn't shout, and and this is like one of the first episodes where I like barely shouted out that many people. Like it was this was definitely like a definitely heavy focused. Oh wait, what am I saying? I definitely did shout out like different things and
we talked about a few people. Yeah, we name
yeah,
dropped
yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit, but not
Yeah.
usually there's a whole segment.
But before I end, we definitely have to get Liza on the show, whether she's being on here solo or I'm gonna maybe next time what I might
At
do.
maybe while we're at DragonCon.
Yeah,
She
but
she
yeah, oh
sh-
yeah, yeah.
um
Or next time I'm on here, just be like, hey, you're gonna join me on the show this time because this is how we're gonna get you on the show, right? Yeah. We're throwing it out, we're gonna throw it out there in the universe. So we get her on the show and
thrilled to have her on as a guest,
oh yeah,
because she's an amazing human being. She's an amazing cosplayer. She's
I
very
appreciate that.
talented, and I've long thought so. Just a lot of people out
I
on the East
appreciate
Coast,
that, man.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
she's super
you
talented.
guys
She's helped me
you
along. Yeah.
complement each other so well. You know.
Everyone always says that, man. Everyone has a lot of things to say about how our relationship is, and what you see online is how we are in person. And like, it's like we're not, like, I know maybe a lot of people might not show off their relationship online. Like this is how we are, this is how we behave. Like, hopefully we inspire everyone to, be like that with their significant other. It's real love. This is what we actually do. It's not a front. It is what it is. It's like, we're getting married, like so yeah, she's been special. She's been amazing. She's changed my life for like definitely like the way better. And like with cosplay, she's helped me so much along the way with my cosplays and like what I've done, like, and yeah, the biggest shout out to her. And also all my other friends and family that I didn't get a chance to shout out throughout the episode as well. Um, yeah, that's a perfect way to end. Thank you, Scotty. I appreciate you having me on again.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. And we will look forward to more episodes as we move through the season and get closer to that September mark, where we will hopefully have some time to do this live and in person. But, friends, that's all we have for episode 1 here in the season. And really, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This is ScottyB with the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary saying bye bye, everybody.